Yes, this is he. Yeah, the interview? Yeah, I could make it at 3 p.m. today. No, I know where that is. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, great. Yeah, I'll see you then. All right, 3 p.m.
Uh-oh. Looks like someone got caught off guard by an interview opportunity. But don't worry. I'm here to help. We'll go through some outfits that would and wouldn't be appropriate. We'll go through some example questions. So without further ado, let's do this. Here we have casual dress. Certainly not appropriate for an interview, unless already specified by the interviewer. Here's an example of business casual. Not too shabby for most interviews. And finally, an example of business professional attire. Remember to always ask your interviewer before the interview what they would prefer you wear to the interview.
Ah, Mr. Lefebvre.
Mr. Toboggan.
Nice to meet you. Have a seat.
Thank you so much.
Whew! Good thing you brought that resume, looked him in the eye, and shook that hand. Now let's look at some example questions.
Well, I believe my greatest strength as a young professional in the social work industry would be my genuine commitment and excitement to seeing others succeed.
Not bad, guy.
My greatest strength, detail oriented.
This one could use some work. Remember to always have backup stories and examples of your best strengths.
Well, I think my greatest weakness, I used to have a little bit of trouble dealing with the autonomy that came with the job, but once I was able to set up a schedule for myself and really stick to it each day and stay within the routine.
You were about to say that you don't have too much of an issue dealing with that weakness anymore, huh? Pretty good.
My biggest weakness, I'm not. I'm not.
Oh my goodness, if I hear someone say they're not a morning person one more time, I swear I'm gonna lose it. This is a bad example. Not only because you're not reframing it in a way that it's actually a strength, but also, most jobs start in the morning. Come on, wake up a little earlier already.
Well, one of my biggest focuses right now is to expand my skill set and learn a little bit more about myself and the industry. And I feel that your team could help me achieve that. Not only that, but I believe that my skills and experiences could be useful to the team.
Ooh, not bad.
Why do I want to work here? Man, let me tell you, my manager right now, he's such a doof, and I need that money.
Well, sure, everybody needs money. We all have to eat after all. But your interviewer wants to see that you not only are trying to grow yourself, but you're also trying to help the company grow. Why don't you try something like that next time?
Well, within the next 3 to 5 years, I see myself still working within the industry, refining my skills a little bit more, and hopefully by then I've gained a few other skills. So I would definitely like to stay within social work, but maybe move around the departments a little bit so I can see how the industry works as a whole.
Hey, okay. He was talking about himself and the company and his relation to it. Wowee.
Next 3 to 5 years, man, I'm just trying to see next week.
Although it may be alright to not know exactly where you'll be in the next 3 to 5 years, you want to communicate to your interviewer that you're in it for the long haul and you want to grow.
Well, there was this one time a coworker and I had a disagreement about how a certain task was supposed to be completed, and it made some good points, and I felt that I made some good points. But at the end of the day, we really just had to sit down and work it out with each other in a pretty calm and civil manner, and we created a pros and cons list actually of both of our ideas. So that way, we were able to see in truth the best parts of their ideas, the best parts of my ideas, and we were able to come to an agreement by mixing our two ideas
That was a
together.
pretty good story. You were able to talk about a conflict you had, but also how you were able to overcome it in a peaceful and communicative manner.
Man, this one time, this guy got in my face about how I was putting the cheese on everything, and I was like, dude, stay in your lane. You're in buns, not cheese. I'm gonna be fine. You're not my manager.
Maybe you should have handled that one a little bit differently, or chosen a different story. This question is mostly looking for, Are you able to communicate your ideas in an effective and healthy way? And when someone disagrees with that idea, are you able to handle it in a healthy and positive way?
Well, at one point, whenever I was still in my internship, I was working on a food truck, and I noticed that we were starting to run low on buns. So I asked the manager if I would be able to take 5 minutes and run to the store and get a couple more buns. And he really liked that because he was really busy that day and he hadn't had the chance to take stock of all the inventory that we were working with. And we were able to avoid what could have been a pretty big
It's
mess.
a good thing we didn't run out of buns, huh? How are you supposed to have a sandwich without nothing to hold it with? This was a good story because he was able to talk about a time where he took initiative when he saw an issue, and that issue became a non-issue.
Initiative? Man, I'm always taking initiative. Everybody is so lazy where I work right now. I'm the only one doing anything.
Okay, but where are the examples? It's easier to back up a point whenever you've got a story to tell.
To describe myself, I would say 1, committed, 2, compassionate, and 3, consistent.
Ah, the 3 C's. Classic. But make sure you've got examples to back all of those up.
3 words to describe myself. Likable, eloquent.
Ah, now's not the time to be blanking. If you're not sure about this question, try practicing it beforehand. And don't forget to have an example of all of these entries.
Well, one of the biggest things that motivates me to get out of bed in the morning is knowing that somewhere someone is always going to be needing help, and if I have the tools and the experiences to help them through whatever they're going through, then I can't think of a better way to spend a day.
Looks like we've got a bleeding heart on our hands. Pretty good for the social work industry. Whenever you're asked what motivates you, it's probably best to come up with something that ties into the job or the industry that you're looking towards.
Gotta get that money, honey.
Come on, you can do better than that. Whenever you're asked this question, it's more often than not to find out a little bit more about you personally and see how ambitious you might be. Of course, you are ambitious, aren't you? The job wants you to be.
As the years go on, I find myself trying to get further and further away from complacency. One of my biggest focuses right now, as I mentioned earlier, is growing my skill set and learning new things. So whenever find myself dealing with some free time or something like that, I like to dedicate it to new projects and new things that I can learn because I find that not only is that the most rewarding thing for me personally, but I think that living a lifestyle like that could help set you up to help somebody else as well.
Okay, that's pretty good. Don't forget, this question is geared at trying to find out a little bit more about you personally and not professionally. So feel free to talk about how you handle stress in appropriate and healthy ways and your other activities that keep you busy.
Well, I don't know. I like to play video games a lot. I like walking my dog. I like hanging out with my friends. That's really about it.
Well, we all like our furry companions, but this didn't really tell me too much about who you are as a person. What kind of values do you have? What kind of things interest you?
Well, that's great. Do you have any questions for me?
You bet your sweet Bippy you've got questions. Asking your interviewer questions shows that you're not only interested in the position, but you also know a little bit more about the company. Probably wouldn't be such a bad idea to do some research on these.
Yes. So, what do you think would be the top 3 attributes or traits that you see in the best candidate for this position? So, tell me a little bit about how your team and your company measures their success. Do they have specific metrics or outcomes that are laid out in the beginning of the term that they need to comply with? So, what really drives results at this job? Is it teamwork? Do you find that there is any specific special ingredient that you guys utilize to really make things happen around here?
Now that we've looked at some examples, why don't you tell me in the comments section which answers you think were the best? Why or why not? Let's talk about it.
Well, thanks for taking the time, Mr. Lefebvre.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Of course. Expect to hear from us within a week.
Great. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to hearing from you.
Great.
I'm not sure you noticed, but you could see that our candidate here made sure to bring his resume today in that there folder. And he stood up, looked the interviewer in the eye, and shook their hand. Not only did they shake their hand, but they also thanked them for their time. Might be a good idea to do something like that a little bit after the interview. Maybe send them an email or a letter, just to let them know that you really appreciate their time.